Good afternoon, class. I am Alvin J. Bastian, your teacher for this afternoon. But before we are going to proceed to our discussion, I will introduce first the adjectives. This lesson aims to present instructional design models that support technological intervention with an expectation that the students are able to discuss how technology is utilized in designing instruction, explain the different models in designing instructional media for teaching and learning, and relate the instructional design models to what has been typically used in the teaching and learning scenarios. So before we are going to proceed the models, I will discuss first the instructional design model. So what is the instructional design model? Instructional design model is a tool, a framework to develop instructional materials. It helps instructional designers provide a structure and meaning to the learning material. So this instructional design model is a tool and it is a framework to develop instructional materials that there is a designers to provide the structures and meaning to the learning materials. So now let's tackle the ADDIE model. So the ADDIE model, as presented below, is a five-step approach developed by the U.S. Air Force. This model is applicable in fields when it comes to planning, including in the field of education. Below are the things you need to consider in every stage as you utilize the ADDIE model as your instructional design. Of course, let's have tackle the analysis. Okay, so ADDIE model, the analysis, which means analyze your situation to understand the gaps you need to fill. So of course, if you are going to make the instructional design, of course, you analyze the situation on how you are going to fill in, on how you are going to fit it on your materials. Of course, the second one is D. D, which means based on your analysis, make informed decision to design the best possible learning experience. So, in this design, you are able to analyze or you are going to base your analyzed and of course the decision making and the possible learning experience on how you are going to design this one. So the third one is the letter D. Of course, the development of instructional design. This the or development, which means bring your learning experience to life by building your end product. Of course, if you are going to have this instructional design model, you are going to develop this one. So the third one is of course the letter D also. The D, which means development. In development, bring your learning experience to life by building your end product. Of course, by building your instructional design model, you have to develop this one because this is what you are going to have an experience by developing this instructional design. Of course, the next one is the letter I, which means implementation. Distribute your learning and product to your audience. So implement. You need to implement this one on how they are going to do this instructional design. And the last one is the evaluation class. Evaluation means evaluate if your learning and product is effective. Make any necessary updates and cycle back to the analysis phase. Of course, evaluation. You need to evaluate your students if it is effective or not because when you are going to evaluate, this evaluate is very effective to the class because if something that they are usually learn by your what you are doing, learn by what they are doing also. And of course, this evaluation is the end product. If it is effective to the instructional design model of what you have. So assure, which means A, analyze learners. Who is the audience? Of course, the demographics, pedagogy, andragogy, general characteristics, entry competencies, and learning styles. So those are for the analyzed learners. The second one is state objectives. What do students need to learn? So of course, learning outcome assessment, course rubrics, skill or concept, proficiency or accuracy, conditions of performance. So what do students need to learn from this course pack? Of course, they are going to have developed themselves or skills into the instructional design model or this assured model. The third one is select methods, media, or materials. What do instructors need to use for face-to-face, hybrid, and online teaching? Of course, select instructional materials, produce new materials, for repurpose existing materials. If you are going to conduct hybrid, of course, you have this instructional design model or instructional materials that is very visualized and it is very visible to the young ones or to the young learners. And of course, if you are going to conduct online, make your PowerPoint presentation to of course to visualize and visible to the students. And the next one is utilize media materials. How do instructors use the materials? Of course, preview materials, prepare environment, provide instruction. If you are going to conduct the demonstration teaching, of course, you have to preview materials, and of course, provide instruction and prepare environment. The second one is the required learning participation. Of course, students will actively engage in the discussion, small group activities, formative assessment. In the demonstration teaching, you have to the discussion. Of course, discuss your lesson proper to have their learnings, and the learners will be able to understand what you are discussing in front. Of course, the small group activities, you are going to conduct the small group activities, then group them into 1, 2, or 3, and then they are going to have a circle one, a circle to make a circle, and of course, they are be able to apply on your instruction that they are given. And of course, evaluate and revise. What works, what doesn't, summative evaluation of instructional delivery, of course, the number one. Instructional delivery and how you are going to deliver your demonstration teaching or your lesson proper. Of course, the media and materials. Media and materials. Always remember that this media is very important now. And if you are going to have this media, make yourself as presentable, and your instructional design model or your instructional materials are very visible and visualized. The next one is revise to improve student outcomes. In our lesson planning, we have to revision, we have to revise our lesson plan if there are some things that you need to revise it. The third model is Hanafin and Beck model 1988. In phase 1, needs analysis. Of course, interview Form 1 science teacher, refer to Form 1 science syllabus and literature review. In phase 2, it is the design on how content, user interface, form at a web quest, introduction, task, process, sources, evaluation, conclusion on how it will dealing the design. The third phase is the development and implementation. Develop the web quest using first a microscope front page 2003, Adobe Photoshop CS2, and of course executing test, the pilot test, and of course the actual test. So in Hanafin and Peck model, there is also evaluation and revision. To improve web quest on technical and content aspect based on the discussion with subject matter expert, lecturer, and science teachers. Evaluation of the web quest from one student as the respondent. So evaluation and revision. So evaluate the students of how they are going to understand. They are going to have the learnings on the students, and of course, as students, they are also the respondent. So for your assignment class, we have the direction. Answer the three following questions. The first one is, what are the three instructional design models? The second one is, choose one instructional design model. And the third one is, why do you choose that model? So goodbye class. Thank you.